Waheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Waheguru Ji Ki Fateh. I am Harpreet Singh, the moderator of this conference, and we welcome you all to this global conference. And our topic for today is a world in the eyes of the ninth Sikh master. We are having these conferences for the next 8 days, in which our focus will be to learn about the legacy and contribution of our Guru, Guru Tegh Bahadur Ji. And also, as we are celebrating the 400th Prakash Purab of Guru Tegh Bahadur Ji, our focus will be not just to rest on the laurels, but also how we can inculcate and integrate those thoughts in our daily lives. And we are very pleased today that we have top eminent personalities from all over the world participating in this conference. And we'll be having 33 speakers during these 8 days who will share their wisdom on the Guru's contribution. And today we are very proud and privileged that we have with us today to speak on this particular issue, a world in the eyes of the ninth Sikh master, Pai Mohinder Singh Ji from UK, Pai Dr. Harbans Lal from USA, and Khalsa Lakhvir Singh from Kenya. So let's welcome all our guests, and we will start with our conference by welcoming once again all our guests. Pai Mohinder Singh Ji, Dr. Pai Harbans Lal and Khalsa Lakhvir Singh Ji, GINU, welcome to the program.
Thank you, Ji.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And of course, you all are known well over the world for your contributions, but while I was going through your biodata, I do not know how to sum it up because there is so much. I think 1 hour will be spent just telling about your contribution to Sikhism. But just for our viewers, I would like to briefly introduce all of you. So as we are starting off by Dr. Mohinder Singh Ahluwalia, Pai Mohinder Singh Ahluwalia is the third in line of spiritual leaders serving the transnational Sikh faith-based organization, Guru Nanak Nishkam Sevak Jatha. Inspired by the legacy of Guru Nanak, it strives to serve humanity based on the principle of being altruistic, that is Nishkam. Pai Sahab also heads the Nishkam group of organizations where he is actively engaged in vision building and partnership building in fields such as education and healthcare, with the aim of making significant contributions to community regeneration, heritage conservation and infrastructure development. He is passionate about empowering individuals and organizations through mobilizing values and virtues. He is a retired civil and structural engineer with 27 years of practice and has 3 honorary doctorates from UK universities for his interfaith work. And as far as awards given to him, there are numerous which I will not be focusing on. So let's start off with Pai Dr. Mohinder Singh Ji Ahluwalia. Ji Dr. Sahab.
Thank you very much indeed for that introduction, Harpreet Singh Ji. Waheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Waheguru Ji Ki Fateh. Sikhs, who number some 26 million globally, will be celebrating Guru Tegh Bahadur Ji's 400th birth anniversary in May 2021. I have been asked to say a few words about the Guru. It is difficult, or rather impossible, for a mortal like me to shed light on Guru Tegh Bahadur Maharaj Ji's greatness. Whatever one expresses, the following 2 verses from Gurbani provide some context. Eved ucha hoye koe, tis uche ko jane soe. Tu samrath vada, meri mat thori ram. This first verse informs us that unless one is at par with Guru Maharaj's spiritual wavelength or frequency, it is impossible to decipher or interpret Gurbani's message and life accordingly. The second verse means God is the highest of the high. One is not wise enough to understand the divine complexities and mysteries of either God or our 10 Satgurus, from Guru Nanak Dev Ji to Guru Gobind Singh Ji. Guru Granth Sahib Ji is our immortal Satguru. As per Gurbani, God and Sat are not different. Har jan doe ek hain, dib bichar kuch na hai, jalte upuj tarang jo, jal hi bikhe samaye. I express this because Gurbani informs us, Gur Parameshwar eko jaan, and Satpurkh jin janya, Satgur tiska nao, tiske sang sikh udre, Nanak har gun gao. What we are being told here is that there is hardly any distinction between God and Satguru, because only someone who understands God fully can be a Satguru. I wish to refer to 4 further verses from Gurbani before expressing my humble thoughts about Guru Maharaj Tegh Bahadur Ji. Balihari Gure Apne Dyohari Sadwar Jin Manas Te Devte Kiye Kart Na Lagi Var. Je 100 Chanda Ugve Suraj Chade Hazar Ete Chanan Hundiyan Gurbin Ghor Andar. Guru Guru Gur Kar Man Mor Guru Bina Main Nahi Hor. Satgur Mera Mar Jiwale. These I understand to mean Guru Nanak Dev Ji is a sacrifice to his Guru, who is capable of instantaneously transforming the ordinary to the sublime. If there were 100 moons and 1,000 suns appearing at the same time, there would still be darkness without the Satguru's guidance. We need to align with Guru's message for us to seek liberation. The Guru has the potential to bring the dead to life. The conclusion of this is that without the Guru, we are lost and unable to attain our life's goal. Guru Tegh Bahadur Ji was born on 1st May 1621 in Amritsar. Soon after his birth, his father, Guru Har Gobind Ji, prophesied that he would be a Tyagi and a Surma, meaning that he will renounce material attachment and become an accomplished warrior, as well as a great spiritual leader. This was indeed borne out in the Guru's lifetime. Guru Tegh Bahadur Ji expressly spent some 20 years meditating in a cellar of his house in the town of Baba Bakala in Punjab. At the age of 43 on 16th April 1664, he became the ninth of the Sikhs. Baba Makhan Shah Luwana identified him from amongst 22 or so impostors. The Guru travelled widely spreading the message of the Sikh Gurus in Kurukshetra, Mathura, Benares, Uttar Pradesh, Bihar, Assam, Bengal and Dhaka. He was 45 years of age when his wife Mata Gujari Ji gave birth to their only son Guru Gobind Rai. What we infer from this is that having children at an older age is the need for parents themselves to accumulate spiritual wealth before having children, so as to bequeath their individual spiritual wisdom and guidance to them. A delegation of Hindus from Kashmir sought the Guru's help against forceful conversion of Hindus to Islam. The Guru agreed on the plea of his young son to plead the Brahmin's case to Emperor Aurangzeb. However, he was arrested on his way to Delhi and jailed. His captor asked him to either perform a miracle to prove his nearness to God, convert to Islam, or accept death. When the Guru refused, his 3 close companions were cruelly put to death in front of him. Still he refused to convert, and he was publicly beheaded in Chandni Chowk in Old Delhi on 11th November 1675. He left behind a note which read, "I gave my head, but I did not part with my dignity and honor." He was 53 years old. Bhai Jeta picked up the Guru's sword, carried it some 200 miles to the Guru's 9-year-old son. He relayed the tragic story of Guru Tegh Bahadur Ji, where no one dared to help in fear of their lives. Guru Gobind Singh Ji vowed to create an ideal Sikh who would be courageous and fearless of death, whilst also compassionate in the fight for justice. Guru Tegh Ji set an unparalleled example of practicing and going beyond self to defend the rights of others to practice their faith. On Mughal Emperor Aurangzeb's conviction that Hindus would gladly accept conversion to Islam if Guru Tegh Bahadur Ji was converted, it is said that the Guru stated, "Hinduism may not be my faith, but I would fight for the right of all Hindus to live in honor and practice their faith according to their own rights. What's interesting is that the supreme sacrifice of Guru Tegh Bahadur Ji happened 346 years ago and 269 years before the formulation of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights and its Article 18. This article states that everyone has the right to freedom of thought, conscience and religion. So Guru Tegh Bahadur Ji was well ahead of his time. Guru Tegh Bahadur Ji has left us with a wealth of valuable legacies, one of which is the establishment of Anandpur Sahib, where the first Amrit Sanchar was conducted by his son Guru Gobind Singh Ji. The Guru Granth Sahib Ji was not completed until Guru Tegh Bahadur's divine writings were included in 1708 by his son. He contributed 59 shabads in 15 rags and 56 slok. In the opening para of the Sikh Ardas is the line, Guru Tegh Bahadur Simriye Karnaun is Ave Thai. This means that if one meditates upon the Guru, one is blessed with spiritual powers. The divine epilogue of Guru Granth Sahib Ji, the Slok Mahela Nauma, beseeches mortals to address life's fundamental questions of Kitthon upje, keh rahe, keh maye samave, or where do we originate from, what is our life's purpose, and where will we expect end up hereafter. To guide us, Guru Tegh Bahadur Ji lovingly advises us to be absorbed in the love and devotion of God, sing His praises, carry out selfless service, tan man tan sab saump gur hukum maniye paiye, be optimistic, Chardikla rakho, to meditate, shun greed and ego, fight inner battles of the mind, be fixed on the purpose of life, remain detached while attached to your duties in this world. Use your body for achieving the best results. Antar gur aradhana, jeva jap gur nao, netri satgur pekhna, sarvane sunna gur nao, satgur seti ratyan darge paji thao. Accept God's will. Jin har nirpao, tyaya tinka pao sab gwasi. Have full faith in your Maker, who is by your side always. Consider the world like a dream, for nothing is real, only virtual. We are asked to remember that whosoever is born will die one day. So our life on this planet is not permanent, but merely transitory. God is all in one, our father, mother, relative, brother, sister, guide and protector. Tu mera pita, tu hai mera mata, tu mera bandhat, tu mera prata, tu mera rakha, sabni thai, ta pao kaha, kada jiyo. There is no true companion or friend like Satguru or God to you. When all friends and companions let you down and there is utter doom and gloom, God and holy saints will still be with you. I would like to end on a couple of shabads of Guru Tegh Bahadur Ji in Rag Surat. Many of them remind us of need to realize our origin, purpose and goal in life. Apart from evolved saintly souls and the Guru, no one can show one the way. We are actually alone in our purposeful journey that we must take. Jo nar dukh mein dukh nahi mane. One who is not swayed by suffering or affliction, nor pleasure and comforts, considers gold and dust of the same value, doesn't indulge in talking ill of others or praising others, is free from greed, worldly love, attachment or egoism, practices equanimity. O Nanak, such a person bestowed with God's and Guru's grace merges with God. Pritam jaan leho man mahi. Everyone in this world is selfishly for himself or herself. Nobody could one consider one's own. Ultimately upon death, even one's wife or husband are separated.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Paisa, thank you very much, Ji. I didn't have to tell you that your time is going to be over. So thank you for this wonderful information about the Guru. Now the question that arises is that we are proud of the legacy of our Guru. But what do you feel with your experience, Bhai Sahib ji, that where are the Sikhs lacking today and what are the solutions for that?
The first thing that comes to my mind is unity and solidarity. The Sikhs need unity and solidarity. And they need to listen to Gurbani seriously. They need to become Khalsas. They must respect genuine sadhus or exalted spiritual beings. This is important. We have to good quality education, value-led education. Our message of Guru Granth Sahib Ji is universal. Thank you.
Wonderful, sir. Thank you very much, Paisa. We are proud of you and the services being provided by your organization. Thank you very much for sharing your wisdom with us. Our next guest for today is Dr. Pai Harbans Lal. Born in 1931 at Haripur, the northwest frontier province, Dr. Harbans Lal is an internationally recognized pharmacologist come neuroscientist. He is also a profound scholar of Sikhism. Dr. Lal is a founding member of the School of Scientific and Logical Interpretation of Gurbani. He is committed to bringing out the truth of Gurbani logically, rationally and scientifically. In his works, Dr. Lal portrays intellectually courageous and authentic attempts to interpret Sikh Guru's verses to create an accurate understanding of the Gurbani. A votary of honest living, Dr. Harbans Lal has led his life dedicated to the love of God and selfless service to society. He is a true Karma Yogi who has devoted his whole life to spread the message of education, Gurmat and service to all, and he was bestowed with the honor of Pai Sahib by the Shiromani Gurdwara Prabandhak Committee in 1963. So let's welcome Pai Dr. Harbans Lal ji and listen to him as to what he has to say today on what the Guru's legacy is and what is a world in the eyes of the 9 Sikh Master. Dr. Pai Harbans Lal ji, welcome ji.
थैंक यू जी, थैंक यू सिमर सिंह जी. भाई साहब भाई महेंद्र सिंह जी ने described Guru Tegh Bahadur's biography, so I'm not going to go into that. Let us imagine what were the times of Guru Tegh Bahadur. Mughals were in India. From Babur to Jahangir to Aurangzeb, conditions were changing. From Guru Arjan Dev's time, Wahhabi Islam came to India and took over. Religious intolerance. I don't have to say any more, just want to say that it is like what ISIS is today. How cruel, killing everybody aimlessly. Guru Tegh Bahadur, Guru Tegh Bahadur was unique. He is son of Guru Hargobind. His teacher is Guru Hargobind. His teacher is Baba Buddha. His teacher is Bhai Gurdas. Wife Mata Gujri, जिन्हां ने इन्हां नूं त्याग मल तो गुरु तेग बहादुर बनाया. Bachitra Natak says, Tegh Bahadur Sikh Riya Kari Na Kinuan is unique contribution of Guru Tegh Bahadur. Let's go a little bit over that. Let me describe at that time condition. The India, the Sindh River, Sindh Delta, and people on the east of Sindh Delta, they were all called Sindhus. That was a civilization which corrupted into Hindu, but actually is name of a civilization. The other side of it is a Turk Judo-Christian civilization, and Sindh divided them. And here is a Guru born there. Guru Sahib the Kortwich, by Nandlal, who came from Afghanistan. So he represents the Judo-Christian culture, one side of the Sindh River, Sindh Delta. And other side, people like Sanapati, जिन्हें श्री गुरु साहब किताब लिखी है जो गुरु साहब के दरबार से at that time kind of a Hindu leader of the, and now I am using Hindu as a civilization and not a religion per se. As Guru Sahib says, Guru the mission see Hindu Turk do samjhavo. Kartarpur, Bhai Santokh Singh writes कि ਜਦੋਂ Guru Nanak Dev Ji ने करतारपुर ਵਿੱਚ सिखी ਦੀ ਨੀਂਹ ਲਗਾਈ, Sikh institution create की थी, उस वेले in that mahal there were equal number of Hindus and Muslims, they were both coming. Bhai Santokh Singh writes, Hindu Turk adak chale aave, Sri Nanak ke charan manaave, ek murid Sikh ek hoven. The Muslims who came to Guru were called murid, Hindus who came to Guru were called Sikhs. Darsan person kalmal hoven. Sat Guru Nanak pargatya miti thund jak chanan hoya. Guru Tegh Bahadur the waqt ਜਿਹੜੇ, let's consider this way. Guru Tegh Bahadur traveled. He spent, after Guru Nanak, he is the one of the gurus who spent most time in traveling. He spent time not only just in Punjab, but central India and then East India. East India wele us wele कई धर्म चल रहे सीगे, वो पूजा कर रहे सीगे, you know, the whatever you call it, religion was in whole India divided. So Guru Tegh Bahadur worked with people in East India, Assam, Bengal, Bihar, to uplift people who were there, who were worshipping occult powers, magical power, shamanic belief system was there. और मुसलमानों में नक्शबंदी उस वेले आ गई थी. They were worshipping Islam that way. So Guru Tegh Bahadur started the institution of Nanak Panthis in East India. There were Satnamis, very large number. As a matter of fact, when Guru Tegh Bahadur came back to Punjab, large contingent of Satnamis also came from Assam and Bengal to Punjab. ਜਦੋਂ ਉਹ ਗੱਲ ਹੁੰਦੀ ਹੈ ਤਿਲਕ ਜੰਜੂ ਰਾਖਾ ਪ੍ਰਭ ਕਾਕਾ, actually it meant that Satnami contingents. This is a little bit questionable whether when we say Guru Tegh Bahadur was 20 years or so ਭੋਰੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਤਪੱਸਿਆ ਕਰ ਰਹੇ ਸੀ ਜਾਂ ਉਹ ਅਸਾਮ ਵਿੱਚ ਸੀਗੇ. Since people did not see Guru, which some interpreted because the information technology was not there. Most of that time Guru was in East India. Aurangzeb at that time, because of the Wahhabi Islam, ke non-Muslim destroy karna hai, he appointed a fanatic Sayyid Muzaffar as Mullah of Punjab, head Mullah. Sayyid Zafar, very fanatic person. He issued farmans for whole India and Punjab. Aurangzeb fell under the influence of Sheikh Masoom, the grandson of the ultra-conservative Naqshbandi scholar Sheikh Ahmad of Sarand. He informed all the governors destroy communal harmony between Sikh Gurus and Muslim Peer Sufi Fakir. Guru Sahib ne badi mehnat karke Muslim de jina kai Peer Sufi tabka Fakir apne naal laye sige. So it was Aurangzeb's instruction to governor to destroy that harmony. Destroy all Hindu temples and non-Muslim places of worship everywhere, including in India, and build mosques everywhere instead. In the beginning, that kind of farman was kind of ignored because they thought this is not possible. That was completely opposite of what was going on in Punjab. But then it was implemented. Guru Kar's friends among Aurangzeb Darbar began to reconsider their relationship with Mughal administration. ਜਿਹੜੇ ਲੋਕੀ ਮੁਗਲਾਂ ਨਾਲ ਸੀਗੇ or Guru ਨਾਲ ਸੀਗੇ, that was the time they're reconsidering, which like Shivaji. Shivaji was originally friend of Aurangzeb. Then he changed his mind. He joined Guru Gobind Singh. He joined in Sikhs. He joined Guru Tegh Bahadur. And now, in the beginning, he was still trying to negotiate between this, but then he gave up and came to Guru side. And in October of 1666, King issued the royal order to destroy the marble railings around the landmark of Hindu temples. Keshwa Mandir, Mathura vich destroy karna. The following year he destroyed another famous Hindu temple, Kalka Ji near Delhi was destroyed. So Aurangzeb also by hukum forbidden celebration of Hindu and Sikh holy days, Navraj, but not celebrate. Holi you could not celebrate. So actually Kashmir, because Guru Tegh Bahadur started from Kashmir and ending up in Assam, सारी जगह प्रचार कर सीधे. When Kashmir people were in trouble, Pandit, you know the story, they came to Guru Tegh Bahadur. Similarly from east, जहाँ संगतां सीगियां सारियां वो चल के जथे दे जथे पंजाब आए Guru Tegh Bahadur साहब को. Particularly Satnami contingent. The history says the large contingents of Satnamis from Assam and Bengal came to Punjab, came to Guru. Guru Sahib benti kite ke kuch karna chahiye. Aurangzeb is killing everybody, destroying whatever is left. So that was the reason and circumstances that Guru Tegh Bahadur was arrested. And then, as you know, उन्होंने जिहड़ी कुर्बानी सीगी Tegh Bahadur साहब दी, किस तरह पहले औरंगजेब ने उन्होंने जिहड़े साथियां नूं वखरा वखरा शहीद कीता, देग विच उबाल के कतलेआम करके आरे नाल चीर के लोकां नूं डराउण वास्ते, and in front of Guru Tegh Bahadur's eyes. And eventually Guru Tegh Bahadur was martyred. और उस जमाने विच किस तरह सिखां ने गुरु साहब दा सीस लैके गए उस खतरनाक हालात विच गुरु गोबिंद सिंह साहब को, किस तरह गुरु साहब दे बाकी संस्कार किया गया. You know the history. So Guru Tegh Bahadur साहब दी कंट्रीब्यूशन ਜਿਹੜੀ ਹੈਗੀ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਦੱਸਦੇ ਹੈਗੇ ਬਹੁਤ ਭਾਈ ਨਾਮ ਲਾਲ ਤੇ ਦੂਸਰੇ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੇ ਕੀ forgetting the name ਸੈਨਾਪਤੀ ਸਾਹਿਬ, ਉਹ ਦੋਨੋਂ ਦੱਸਦੇ ਹੈਗੇ ਕਿ ਗੁਰੂ ਤੇਗ ਬਹਾਦਰ ਸਾਹਿਬ ਦੀ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਕੰਟਰੀਬਿਊਸ਼ਨ ਸੀ ਉਹ ਸਾਰੇ ਇੰਡੀਆ ਵਿੱਚ ਸੀ, not just ਪੰਜਾਬ. ਔਰ ਉਸ ਵੇਲੇ ਦੇ ਸਾਰੇ ਜਗਤ ਹੀ ਸੀ, because that was the jagat of that time, that's how far we could travel and connections were. So ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦਾ ਉਹ ਜਗਤ ਉਧਾਰਨ ਵਾਸਤੇ, ਜਗਤ ਦੀ ਰੱਖਿਆ ਕਰਨ ਵਾਸਤੇ ਗੁਰੂ ਸਾਹਿਬ ਨੇ ਆਪਣਾ ਕੁਰਬਾਨੀ ਦਿੱਤੀ, ਆਪ ਸ਼ਹੀਦ ਹੋਏ ਤੇ ਗੁਰੂ ਦਾ ਮੈਸੇਜ ਤੇ ਪ੍ਰਚਾਰ ਸਾਰਿਆਂ ਵਿੱਚ ਹੋਇਆ. So this is briefly I like to impress that Guru Tegh Bahadur attended the Muslim population, Hindu population, brought them towards common God. ਔਰ ਇੱਕ ਨਾਲ ਦੂਜੇ ਨਾਲ ਪਿਆਰ ਕਰਨਾ ਹੈਗਾ ਤੇ ਵਹਾਬੀ ਮੁਸਲਮਾਨਾਂ ਦੇ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦਾ ਸੀ ਪੈਸਾ ਖਤਮ ਕੀਤਾ ਜਾਵੇ और डेंजर से बचाया और कौम में जो स्पिरिट पैदा की थी कि then at time of Guru Gobind Singh, then they took a sword and fought जितना सारा जुल्म हो रहा सी. So these are the some words I like to describe Guru Tegh Bahadur's contribution ਤੇ किस तरह सारे जगत ਦੇ रखवाले ਸੀਗੇ ਸਾਰਿਆਂ ਵਾਸਤੇ, ਜਿਸ ਤਰ੍ਹਾਂ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਕੁਰਬਾਨੀ ਕੀਤੀ, ਧਰਮ ਤੇ ਸੀਸ ਤੇ ਹੱਥ ਰੱਖਿਆ. वाजू खालसा वाजी फतेह जी.
बहुत धन्यवाद Dr. Harbans Lal ji. Thank you for your perspective. And my question, as I had asked Paisa Pai Mahendra Singh ji, that what are the Sikhs lacking today and what are the solutions for that, where we need to work? Please, could you talk about this in the next 3-4 minutes?
In my opinion, it's a relatively simple. Guru Sahib ne Sikhi liandi hai as a universal religion. Gur Samund Nadi Sab Sikhi. Guru Mahasamundar Sai Dunya Vaste. We took it as a ethnic group. Sikhi ne ਅਸੀਂ ਇੱਕ ethnicity ਬਣਾਤਾ ਹੈਗਾ ਤੁਹਾਡੇ UK ਵਿੱਚ ਬੜੀ discussion ਸੀ ਕਿ Sikh ethnic group. Sikh is not a ethnic group. Sikh is a universal religion, universal way of life सारी दुनिया वास्ते. So अगर सारी दुनिया वास्ते हैगा तो we have to present in दुनिया language. That means in English. We have to bring English in Gurdwara, English in our communication, English in describing our book and literature, because we have to keep in mind that Guru's message for the whole world, not just for Punjab. We have to somehow leave that baggage that we are Punjabi, we are only 15 million there, we are... ਇਹ ਪਹਿਲੇ attitude ਸਾਡੇ ਗੁਰਦੁਆਰਿਆਂ ਵਿੱਚ ਪੰਜਾਬੀਆਂ ਤੋਂ ਬਗੈਰ ਹੋਰ ਕੋਈ ਬੰਦਾ ਨਹੀਂ ਆਉਂਦਾ ਗੁਰਦੁਆਰੇ। ਗੁਰੂ ਸਾਹਿਬ ਦੇ ਵਕਤ ਗੁਰੂ ਸਾਹਿਬ ਦੀ ਸੰਗਤ ਵਿੱਚ ਮੁਸਲਮਾਨ ਹੁੰਦੇ ਸੀਗੇ, ਹਿੰਦੂ ਹੁੰਦੇ ਸੀਗੇ, ਕਿਸੇ ਨੇ ਤਿਲਕ ਲਗਾਇਆ ਦਾ, ਕਿਸੇ ਨੇ ਪਗੜੀ ਬੱਧੀ ਦੀ ਹੈ, ਕਿਸੇ ਨੇ ਕਿਸ ਕੀਤਾ ਦਾ ਹੈਗਾ, they all came. So we left that, we are making it as a ethnic group. We have to go out of it. English language ਨੂੰ ਅਪਣਾਉਣਾ, ਦੁਨੀਆ ਦੇ ਬਾਕੀ ਚੀਜ਼ਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਅਪਣਾਉਣਾ, lifestyle ਤਾਂ ਕਿ ਲੋਕਾਂ ਨਾਲ communicate ਕਰ ਸਕੇ. We are not communicating with anybody, with our neighbors. To me, that is the need of today.
जी, बहुत धन्यवाद जी. Thank you very much, Dr. Bhai Harbans Lal ji. Our next guest who will be sharing his views is Khalsa Lakhvir Singh. Based in the beautiful East African country of Kenya, where he has lived for the past 40 years, Lakhvir Singh is a passionate Sikh motivational speaker, lecturer and writer who has been serving the local Sikh Gurdwaras and wider Sikh community in Kenya for over 20 years in various religious activities. Besides being a self-motivated Sikh theologist and preacher, Lakhvir Singh is also an independent historian who researches and publishes the history of Sikhs in Kenya. He is also a budding publisher with his own inspirational books, magazines and other educational material which he is getting ready for print. Lakhvir Singh's goal is to help people across the world in understanding Sikhi through the message of Gurbani and how to apply it in our daily lives. So let's welcome Khalsa Lakhvir Singh ji. Lakhvir Singh ji, you are here for the next 15 minutes. Please, what would you like to tell us today as to Guru's legacy and also a world in the eyes of the 9th Sikh Master?
Ji ka Khalsa, Waheguru Ji ki Fateh. First of all, I'd like to express my gratitude and humility that I'm in the presence of Bhai Bhai Mohinder Singh ji and Bhai Harbans Lal ji, with whom I am sharing the platform of discussing a subject and a personality in our history who is beyond comprehension. But we make our humble effort, as Guru Sahib has blessed us, to speak about him so that we may remind ourselves and inspire others as well in the same. So the world through the eyes of Guru Tegh Bahadur. How to tell the Guru's thought and vision through his word. Guru Tegh Bahadur di आवाज नानक दी आवाज है. Guru Tegh Bahadur da nazariya नानक da ही nazariya है. Guru Tegh Bahadur Nanak ही सी. And Nanak's perception of the world concerns both spiritual and temporal realms as well. ज्यों सुपना और पेखना ऐसे जग को जान. Guru Sahib has used the word jag, dunya, world. Like a dream and a show, so is this world. You must know. Guru Sahib is telling us, "E marg sansar ko, Nanak thir nahi koi." This is the way of the world, O Nanak. Nothing is stable or permanent. The world is devoid of or lacks divine values, which is why we suffer and are in disillusion, and in both spiritual and worldly matters. Guru Tegh Bahadur, much as all other Nanaks, witnessed the world to be ravished by two kinds of dilemmas, spiritual and worldly. which is what the Guru addresses to strike the perfect balance in both aspects for his Sikhs. Spiritual dilemma. Guru Sahib reveals the state of mind of the people and what transpires in the world, which are all within hukam, and also within our own control to change and positively transform ourselves. That's why, looking at our state and of the world, Guru Sahib advises, guides and instructs us to understand and willingly surrender to no one and to nothing else but to the Word, by self-awakening through untiring commitment to the Word of God. According to Guru Tegh Bahadur Shabads, popularly known as Nawe Mahalle de Slok, these are the three main spiritual dilemmas. People are relentlessly wasting away their lives by forsaking God, divine values, and spiritual self-realization. Sin and corruption bring suffering to both self and to others. 2. The world is engrossed in vanity, forgetting that nothing is forever and nothing will go with us after this life, neither body nor wealth. Number 3. Guru reminds us of the frailty of human existence and inspires us to connect with God while we still have the breath, and to commit our life to the study and contemplation of the Word, if we are to save ourselves from suffering and to liberate ourselves from this terrible physical realm he calls a treacherous world ocean. Awakening us to these ultimate truths, Guru Sahib reminds us the inescapable realities and what we need to do to save our mind, body and soul from its devastating effects. Jo upjyo so binas hai, paro aaj ke kaal. Whatever has been created shall be destroyed. Everyone shall perish, today or tomorrow. Nanak har gun gail hai, chhad sagal janjal. O Nanak, sing the glorious praises of the Lord and give up all other entanglements. The Guru's perception of the world as a worldly dilemma. Additionally, Sikhs are to challenge oppression, as much from within our own selves, but also outside of us, which otherwise is the cause of continued suffering in the world. While leading the Sikhs mainly in spiritual matters and advancing the Sikhi of Nanak, Guru Tegh Bahadur was equally a soldier, as was the principle since Guru Har Gobind manifested the concept of Miri and Piri, where the Sikhs were progressively transformed into saved soldiers, which Guru Nanak and every other Guru already were in concept and ideal. But it became necessary as the call of time to physically arm the self with weapons as inspired and guided by the principles of Shabad Guru. Though Guru Tegh Bahadur was in every aspect a soldier, as were his Sikhs, he did not raise it to defend the cause of righteousness, but rather it was symbolic that he and his Sikhs were prepared to use it when the time was nigh for it. But at that time, the Guru continued to maintain the stride of a saint that uses every other means possible to challenge, dissuade, and to repel the tyrants of the land from oppressing the weak, naive, and vulnerable. Even when the Mughal tyranny was at its height, he chose to lay down his life in defense of the right of all to be free from physical and spiritual subjugation, because it was to go on to prove to be the last straw before the next Nanak, after Guru Gobind Singh, after Guru Tegh Bahadur, would once again call out the sword to quell the plague of audacious intolerance that the Mughal Raj had ravaged the land for centuries. Through his supreme and unequaled sacrifice for the sake of others, Guru Tegh Bahadur exemplified that even if it comes to life and limb, one must uphold the values of compassion and courage. Compassion, as he did not wage a physical war with the enemy, and also defended the defenseless as an act of mercy for them, so that they may be preserved. And courage, as he did not surrender or exceed violent threats and coercion of the enemy of faith and humanity. That is how Guru Tegh Bahadur perceived and also knew the world to be a world of injustice. Both the oppressor and the oppressed were unjust. The oppressor for imposing violently or non-violently, and the oppressed for being cowardly, for failing to realize their rise and defend the self and others in the midst of tyranny. The Guru's martyrdom opened the eyes of the masses on what his message was to humanity: to be courageous, stand up and be counted, and prepare to defend faith and righteousness with one's very own life. In the very words of Guru Nanak, Guru Tegh Bahadur proved to the world at such a dark time the stark reality of the world. Kood Raja, Kood Parja, Kood Sab Sansar. False is the king, false are the subjects, false is the whole world. And that Kood Koode Neh Laga, Visraya Kartar. The false ones love falsehood and forget their creator. That was the very view of the Guru of the world, that they were suffering and will continue to suffer because of what is expounded in Gurbani over and over, that we are all false because we have all fallen from grace, not live the divine values and wisdom of our Creator. Sansar, with the malady identified, the Guru as doctor prescribes the medicine of how to come out of our dilemmas. Again, in the words of Guru Nanak, Sansar rogi naam daru mail lage sach bina. The world is sick and the naam is the medicine to cure it. Without the true Lord, filth sticks to it. So in conclusion, from a worldly perspective, Guru Tegh Bahadur observed it as one ravished by man himself, as he imposed himself over the other, intoxicated by the insatiable greed of power and affluence. The misery of the world was further compounded by the ineffectiveness in responding to the masses' call to save them from the tyrants and plunderers of man, because of the ignorance to their positive potential that comes only from living by divine values. From a spiritual perspective, Guru Tegh Bahadur observed it as one being wasted by the oblivious nature of man to engross himself in the pleasures of the world and forgetting God in the form of cultivating divine values and living a righteous life as guided by the Word. But that is exactly why Nanak gave us the Sikhi of Shabad as Guru, so that we can free our minds from the clutches of the world, of people, of circumstances. Guru Tegh Bahadur, as the ninth Nanak, wrote equally powerful but somber revelations about our inner and outer states, which are the cause of our misery and suffering. But Shabad, as the solution, was manifested as our hope out of it. Vaheguru Ji Ka Khalsa.
Vaheguru Ji Ki Fateh. बहुत धन्यवाद खालसा लखवीर सिंह जी for this insightful view what you have shared with us. And my question to you also is the same as to what do you feel, where are we as Sikhs lacking today, and what is the solution you feel we need to focus on?
Not from my own viewpoint, but from the Guru's, and it remains relevant to today as well on the question raised. Where are the Sikhs lacking today? And what can be done about it? Guru Tegh Bahadur states that our vices have plunged us into the bottomless pit of being rendered powerless before the ways of the world. But once we finally realize that Shabad is Guru, is our only Lord and unfailing support and help to live free of bondage, and to strengthen us in everything that He wills good for us and for the world. Guru Sahib also states that we are troubled because we have forsaken the remembrance of the Lord. That is, by living a life of virtue and contemplation of Shabad Guru. And that is what the Sikhs of today are lacking. The closeness and direct connection with Shabad Guru. Sikhs may sing, read, listen, or speak of Gurbani, but that does not equate to much if they do not contemplate on it and remedy their lives according to the wisdom of Shabad Guru. Guru Sahib makes it very clear. Gun Gobind gayo nahi, janam akarat keen. If you do not sing the praises of the Lord, your life is rendered useless. Because for oblivion to Gurbani, we are failing not only our own selves, but the world too. Sikhi is important as much to the individual's purpose, to realize and merge with God, as it is to also employ its wisdom towards the benefit of humanity. Even if it means laying down one's life in the cause of righteousness, truth and justice. What needs to be done is simple, but certainly not easy. We need to abandon paths and become loyal and committed to our own path of Sikhi. The Sikhi of our Gurus, the Sikhi of Shabad as Guru. That's where our salvation rests. To read, study, implant, internalize, and live by Shabad Guru. Nothing else has ever saved any self-professed Sikh from the suffering that he invites and that befalls on him. If only we surrender our minds totally to Shabad Guru, then Guru Sahib assures us, Jahte upjo Nanaka, leen tahe mehman. Believe it. You shall merge once again with one, O Nanak, from whom you originated. Guru Sahib continues to remind us, if we care to remember and take advantage of the wisdom being given to us, Jag rachna sab jhoot hai, jaan rahe re meet. The world and its affairs are totally false. Know this well, my friend. Keh Nanak thir na rahe, jo balu ke peet. Says Nanak, it is like a wall of sand. It shall not endure. Vaheguru Ji ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji ki Fateh.
Thank you very much, Khalsa Lakhbir Singh Ji. As I have some time, Pai Mahinder Singh Ji, Dr. Harbans Lal Ji, if you would permit me, we would like to learn a little bit more from your wisdom. There's a general question in the minds of every Sikh today that how to get the youngsters involved with Sikhi. They are going away. Well, this is a question which every religion is facing. But we as Sikhs, what would be your recommendation, sir? Pai Mahinder Singh Ji, I would like to start with you. What would you like to tell us that how can we get the Sikh youngsters be proud of our legacy, and then what needs to be done so that we are able to get them back on this threshold?
I think it is education. Education is very important. If the parents do not know about things, then you have a problem. You will not be able to guide the children. So, for me, value-led education becomes very important. It is important, I think, also to understand the meaning of dharma. Dharma does not translate into religion. It is virtuous living, righteous conduct. And we are now almost obsessed with rights. But there are also responsibilities. And in dharma, responsibility is a precursor to rights. We must understand that we are responsible for many things. We are responsible for upbringing of the children. So we have to create a situation where children are able to become wise through, of course, reading the Gurbani, understanding it, and applying it. So schools need to have value-led education. we have to somehow narrow this separation, intergenerational separation. We have to bring more youth into our Gurdwaras, and provide them with opportunities. And we have to do the same for the feminine gender, for the ladies also. We need to do that because at the end of the day, it is the mother who is the first guru. So if the mother is wise, the children will be wise. You know, we have very many verses, shabads in Guru Granth Sahib Ji, which inform us that a mother needs to be very careful. The 9 months the baby is unborn, that's where you get the most educated. So we have to look from that point of view. Thank you.
Wonderful, sir. Thank you. Dr. Harbans Lalji, from your perspective, what needs to be done?
I think I'll bring up two things, one for children and one for adults. Children learn best, science has proven, children learn best in their mother tongue. What is mother tongue? You cannot impose a language and say this is mother tongue. Mother tongue is the language which is taught by mother without going to school, without a teacher, which is learned from when mother talks to the child, when child is only 3 months old, 1 year old, the language she uses, that become mother tongue. In the Western world, our mother tongue is not Punjabi, our mother tongue is English. So we have to bring teaching of the children into English, have enough literature, enough material available. Children talk to me, they are a little bit more open with me. And they often say, Uncle, your guru is very boring. I mean, you will not hear this thing, but I hear. Because they say what we are learning about our guru, about teaching is very boring. Oh, why is boring? Because we are not putting in their mother tongue, in their language. Guru Nanak Dev Ji gave Makkah Medina, his one act of sleeping with the feet, and you know the story, his one act was much more communicative with the population than if they opened a Punjabi school there and taught everybody and asked them this. 10 years in Saudi Arabia, Guru Nanak was there 10 years. He did not teach one person Punjabi. He did not teach even one person in 10 years कि तुम पंजाबी पढ़ो तो रब की शिक्षा ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਨਾਲ communicate हो सकती है in your own language, in your own medium. That's the children bring the teaching to children in English, in Spanish, in Japanese, in Hindi, in whatever their mother tongue is. Second is for adults. We have to have study circles. क्यों गुरुद्वारे जो जाके लोगों को कोई पता नहीं लगता कीर्तन लोग सुन आते हैं there is a very good Sakhi Guru Hargobind Sahib ਦੇ ਟਾਈਮ ਦੀ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਗੁਰੂ ਹਰਗੋਬਿੰਦ ਸਾਹਿਬ ਦੇ ਦੀਵਾਨ ਲੱਗਿਆ ਸੀ ਕੀਰਤਨ ਹੋ ਰਿਹਾ ਸੀ ਤੇ ਇੱਕ ਬੰਦਾ ਚਲਾ ਜਿਹਾ ਆ ਗਿਆ ਉਹ ਗੁਰਦੁਆਰੇ ਚ ਆ ਕੇ ਗਾਲਾਂ ਕੱਢ ਕੇ ਨੱਸ ਗਿਆ and then some six got after and caught him, brought him to Guru ਸਾਹਿਬ ਗੁਰਦੁਆਰੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਇਹਨੇ ਗੰਦੀਆਂ ਗੱਲਾਂ ਕੀਤੀਆਂ ਹੈਗੀਆਂ ਘਰ ਵਿੱਚ ਚਲਾ ਗਿਆ ਉਹ ਕਹਿੰਦਾ ਜੀ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਲੋਕੀ ਸ਼ਿਕਾਇਤ ਕਰ ਰਹੇ ਹੈਗੇ ਇਹ ਤੇ ਗੁਰਦੁਆਰੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਸੀਗੇ ਹੀ ਨਹੀਂ ਉਹ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਨਹੀਂ ਅਸੀਂ ਬੈਠੇ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਅਸੀਂ ਦੇਖਿਆ ਉਹ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਪੁੱਛੋ ਕਿ ਉਸ ਵੇਲੇ ਕੀਰਤਨ ਵਾਲੇ ਕਿਹੜਾ ਸ਼ਬਦ ਪੜ੍ਹ ਰਹੇ ਸੀਗੇ not one person could remember that and that Guru Sahib created that Sakhi to illustrate what he wanted to say. So ਅਸੀਂ ਗੁਰਦੁਆਰੇ ਚੋਂ we don't get anything unless there's a question answer on the study circle. ਜਿਹੜਾ ਗੁਰਦੁਆਰੇ ਦਾ ਪ੍ਰੋਗਰਾਮ ਸਾਲ ਨਿਤਨੇਮ ਹੈਗਾ ਕੀਰਤਨ ਪਾਠ ਦਾ ਠੀਕ ਲੇਕਿਨ ਉਸ ਤੋਂ ਬਾਅਦ people should sit down and discuss the topic of the day. Guru Sahib ਦਾ ਹੁਕਮ ਆਇਆ ਸਿਰਫ ਉਹਦੀ translation ਸੁਣ ਕੇ ਨਾ ਜਾਓ what is the implication in my life If tomorrow I come, somebody asks me, कल जड़ा गुरु साहब ने हुक्म दिता सीगा, उस दे last 24 घंटे तेरे ते की impact होया? Impact होया कि one time we did that, and ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਕਿਹਾ ਭਈ ਆ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਸ਼ਬਦ ਹੈ ਗੁਰੂ ਸਾਹਿਬ ਦਾ ਹੁਕਮ, ਕੱਲ ਅਸੀਂ ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਤੋਂ ਸਵਾਲ ਪੁੱਛਾਂਗੇ ਕਿ ਇਸ ਸ਼ਬਦ ਦਾ ਇੰਪੈਕਟ ਕੀ ਹੈਗਾ. Next day people came, and as people started crying, ਜਦੋਂ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਇਹ ਸੋਚਿਆ ਕਿ ਇਹ ਸਭ ਮੇਰੇ ਪਰਸਨਲ ਲਾਈਫ ਤੇ ਇਹਦਾ ਕੀ ਕੰਟਰਡਿਕਸ਼ਨ, ਕੀ ਕੰਟੈਕਟ ਹੈਗਾ. So introduce Sikh study circle, discussion groups in Gurdwara, outside the Gurdwara, and home Wednesday afternoon. We have America program ਹੈਗਾ ਸੁਖਮਨੀ ਸਾਹਿਬ ਦਿਨ, ਉਹ 1 ਘੰਟੇ ਸੁਖਮਨੀ ਜਲਦੀ ਦੇ ਪਾਠ ਕਰਕੇ ਲੋਕੀ ਚਲ ਜਾਂਦੇ ਹੈਗੇ. Instead, tell them take one Ashtapadi, one Pauri, one Slok, whatever you can, and discuss that. ਉਹਦੀ implication ਕੀ ਹੈਗੀਆਂ ਸਾਡੀ ਲਾਈਫ ਤੇ. ਮੈਂ ਅਗਲੇ ਹਫਤੇ ਤੱਕ ਜਦੋਂ ਫਿਰ ਆਵਾਂ ਸੁਖਮਨੀ ਸਾਹਿਬ ਪ੍ਰੋਗਰਾਮ ਵਿੱਚ, will I be able to implement anything in my life or not? And you will see people will be impacted. So I recommend children education in English, study circles and gurdwaras for adults.
Wonderful suggestion, sir. Thank you very much. And Khalsa Lakhvir Singh ji, briefly, if within 2 minutes you could sum it up as to what would be your suggestions.
My suggestion would be to take personal responsibility and not have any expectations of others to expound or to share the message of Gurbani. We need to live exemplary lives, but at the same time we need to inspire our leaders in our gurdwaras or in institutions, families, that if we want to preserve Sikhi, we are first people to be responsible for it. We cannot expect the world to change and yet we don't change with it. In terms of change as inspired by Gurbani, in Sikhi, our only solution is Gurbani. जिन्नी असी गुरबानी पढ़ांगे समझ के उन्ना साडे विच तब्दीली आएगी, ते साडे जिहड़े of our community to change. Our youth, we need to simply, they find it too complicated because they can't relate to it anymore. I'm inspired by how other faiths have brought in youth by coming to their level in terms of visual appeal and making it very minimalist. We need to break down the message of Gurbani in ways that they can be inspired. So we need to reinvent our Prachar system. Right. We need to rethink it because the message still remains the same, but our mode, our presentation style needs to change, and that can be discussed on how we can do that.
Absolutely. ਦਿਲ ਤਾਂ ਨਹੀਂ ਕਰਦਾ ਜੀ ਕਿ ਜੋ ਵਿਜ਼ਡਮ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਅੱਜ ਸਾਡੇ ਥਿੰਕ ਟੈਂਕਸ ਤੋਂ ਮਿਲ ਰਹੀ ਹੈ ਕਿ ਹੋਰ ਅੱਗੇ ਡਿਸਕਸ਼ਨ ਨੂੰ ਅਸੀਂ ਨਾ ਚਲਾਈਏ, ਲੇਕਿਨ ਸਮਾਂ ਨਹੀਂ ਆਗਿਆ ਦੇ ਰਿਹਾ. ਭਾਈ ਸਾਹਿਬ, ਭਾਈ ਮਹਿੰਦਰ ਸਿੰਘ ਜੀ, ਡਾਕਟਰ ਭਾਈ ਹਰਬੰਸ ਲਾਲ ਜੀ, ਖਾਲਸਾ ਲਖਵੀਰ ਸਿੰਘ ਜੀ, ਤੁਹਾਡਾ ਸਾਰਿਆਂ ਦਾ ਬਹੁਤ ਬਹੁਤ ਧੰਨਵਾਦ. ਸਮਾਂ ਕੱਢ ਕੇ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਟੈਕਨੋਲੋਜੀ ਦਾ ਦੇਖੋ ਅੱਜ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਕਿੰਨਾ ਫਾਇਦਾ ਹੈਗਾ ਕਿ ਅਸੀਂ ਇੱਕ ਵਿਅਕਤੀ USA 'ਚ ਬੈਠੇ ਨੇ, ਇੱਕ UK 'ਚ ਨੇ, ਕੀਨੀਆ 'ਚ, ਤੇ ਮੈਂ ਕੈਨੇਡਾ 'ਚ ਬੈਠਾ, ਤੇ ਅਸੀਂ ਸਾਰੇ ਰਲ ਮਿਲ ਕੇ ਡਿਸਕਸ਼ਨ ਕਰ ਰਹੇ ਹਾਂ. ਤੇ ਇਸ ਦਾ ਸਹਾਰਾ ਲੈ ਕੇ ਅੱਜ ਅਸੀਂ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਸਾਡੇ ਮੁੱਦੇ ਹੈਗੇ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੇ ਉੱਤੇ ਕਿਤੇ ਵੀ ਬੈਠ ਕੇ ਵਿਚਾਰ ਵਟਾਂਦਰਾ ਕਰ ਸਕਦੇ, ਕਿਉਂਕਿ ਗੁਰੂ ਸਾਹਿਬ ਨੇ ਵੀ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਇਹੀ ਕਿਹਾ ਕਿ ਜੇਕਰ ਕੋਈ ਦੁਬਿਧਾ ਹੈਗੀ ਹੈ ਤਾਂ ਉਸ ਵਾਸਤੇ ਬੈਠ ਕੇ ਵਿਚਾਰ ਵਟਾਂਦਰਾ ਕਰਕੇ ਉਸ ਦਾ ਸੋਲੂਸ਼ਨ ਲੱਭੋ. ਸੋ ਤੁਹਾਡਾ ਸਾਰਿਆਂ ਦਾ ਬਹੁਤ ਬਹੁਤ ਧੰਨਵਾਦ ਸਮਾਂ ਕੱਢ ਕੇ ਅੱਜ ਸਾਡੇ ਨਾਲ ਸਾਂਝ ਪਾਉਣ ਲਈ. ਤੇ ਅਗਲੇ 7 ਦਿਨ ਵੀ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਹੈਗੇ ਨੇ ਇਸ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਵੱਖਰੇ ਵੱਖਰੇ ਸਪੀਕਰਸ from all over the world will be participating and sharing their wisdom. So once again, from the bottom of our hearts, we are thankful to you all for sparing your time and giving us these insights. And we are sure that from this knowledge that you have shared with us, with your wisdom, we will inculcate this into our lives, because that is the most important thing. We can talk big, but action speaks louder than words. And wherever we are in the world today, this is what needs to be incorporated so that we are able to inspire our youngsters and continue the legacy of our gurus. Otherwise, we will just remain confined with that parochial thought which Dr. Harbans Lal touched upon. And as Paisab also mentioned, we need to expand ourselves, and education is the only answer. So let's hope from your wisdom we are able to learn something. Once again, thank you very much. Waheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Waheguru Ji Ki Fateh.
Waheguru Ji Ki Fateh.
Thank you.
Thank you, everything.
Thank you. Thank you all.
Thank you all.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
ਸੋ ਇਹ ਸਨ ਸਾਡੇ ਅੱਜ ਦੇ ਮਹਿਮਾਨ ਜੀ, ਭਾਈ ਸਾਹਿਬ ਭਾਈ ਮਹਿੰਦਰ ਸਿੰਘ ਜੀ ਆਲੂਵਾਲੀਆ, ਜਿਹੜੇ ਕਿ ਨਿਸ਼ਕਾਮ ਸੇਵਾ ਜਥਾ, ਜਿਸ ਨੂੰ ਜਾਣਦੇ ਹੀ ਹੋ. ਇਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਜ਼ਿੰਦਗੀ ਦੇ ਤਜਰਬੇ ਤੋਂ ਜੋ ਕੁਝ ਅੱਜ ਗੱਲ ਕੀਤੀ ਹੈ, आओ इसनू अपने पल्ले बनीए। डॉक्टर भाई हरबंस लाल ਜਿਹੜੇ ਕਿ ਬੜੇ ਲੰਮੇ ਸਮੇਂ ਤੋਂ ਕੌਮ ਦੀ ਸੇਵਾ ਕਰ ਰਹੇ ਨੇ, ਇਹਨਾਂ ਦੀ ਵਿਜ਼ਡਮ ਨੇ ਜੋ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਅੱਜ ਗੱਲਾਂ ਕਹੀਆਂ ਨੇ ਕਿ ਅਸੀਂ ਸੌੜੀ ਸੋਚ ਤੋਂ ਬਾਹਰ ਨਿਕਲ ਕੇ ਆਪਣੇ ਆਪ ਨੂੰ ਇੱਕ ਵਿਸ਼ਾਲ ਸੋਚ ਜੋ ਗੁਰੂ ਨੇ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਦਿੱਤੀ ਉਸ ਨੂੰ ਅਪਣਾਈਏ। ਤੇ ਖਾਲਸਾ ਲਖਵੀਰ ਸਿੰਘ ਜੋ ਕਿ ਕੀਨੀਆ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਸਿੱਖਾਂ ਦੀ ਜੋ ਉੱਥੇ ਕੰਟਰੀਬਿਊਸ਼ਨ ਹੈਗੀ ਉਸ ਨੂੰ ਇਹ ਕਿਤਾਬਾਂ ਦੇ ਰਾਹੀਂ ਅੱਗੇ ਲੈ ਕੇ ਆ ਰਹੇ ਨੇ। ਸੋ ਇਹ ਸਾਰੇ ਸਾਡੇ ਥਿੰਕ ਟੈਂਕਸ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਹੈਗੇ ਨੇ, ਸਾਡੇ ਕੋਲ ਬਹੁਤ ਸਾਰੇ ਥਿੰਕ ਟੈਂਕਸ ਹੈਗੇ ਨੇ, ਬਟ ਕੀ ਕਾਰਨ ਹੈ ਕਿ ਅਸੀਂ ਉਹ ਜੋ ਚੇਂਜਸ ਚਾਹੁੰਦੇ ਆ ਉਹ ਅਸੀਂ ਦੇਖ ਨਹੀਂ ਸਕਦੇ। ਸ਼ਾਇਦ ਸਿਰਫ ਇੱਕੋ ਹੀ ਪ੍ਰੋਬਲਮ ਹੈਗੀ ਕਿ ਅਸੀਂ ਚੇਂਜ ਲਿਆਉਣਾ ਚਾਹੁੰਦੇ ਹਾਂ ਦੂਸਰਿਆਂ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ, ਅਸੀਂ ਕ੍ਰਿਟਿਸਾਈਜ਼ ਕਰਨੇ ਆ, ਵੀ ਕੰਪਲੇਨ, ਬਟ ਵੈਨ ਇਟ ਕਮਸ ਟੂ ਚੇਂਜਿੰਗ ਆਵਰਸੈਲਵਸ ਅਸੀਂ ਵਿਡਰਾਅ ਕਰ ਜਾਂਦੇ ਹਾਂ। ਪਰ ਗੁਰੂ ਸਾਹਿਬ ਦੀ ਸੋਚ ਨੂੰ ਪਹਿਰਾ ਤਦ ਹੀ ਅਸੀਂ ਦੇ ਸਕਾਂਗੇ ਇਫ ਵੀ ਬਿਕਮ ਦ ਚੇਂਜ ਦੈਟ ਵੀ ਵਾਂਟ ਟੂ ਸੀ in the world. And in today's program, I'm once again thankful to all my guests and especially to the public. And also every evening you find me on the Harpreet Singh show at 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, where we talk about such issues because that is the need of the hour. We need to involve our youngsters. What are their issues? What are their challenges? What we are finding today in the community is drugs, gangs, violence, which is increasing at a very rapid pace. I was astonished to hear, in England, domestic violence cases have doubled in the past 1 year in the Sikh community. While we are proud of other achievements, we need to talk on these issues, and our Gurdwaras are the hubs from where we need to start this talk. Once again, thank you very much, and we are also thankful to our team members, K.S. Aluwalia, Simar Singh, who is the world's youngest Sikh researcher, and because of him, I am having these guests today over here. Raja Thaliwal of World Masters Academy, Manjeet Litt of Litco Investments, and Manjeet Gill of Cloverdale Fuel for helping spread this information into our homes. Thank you very much. God bless you. Vaheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji Ki Fateh.